Hello everyone, this is Sportimus here, and today we'll be taking a look at the Transformers Animated Voyager class, Optimus Prime. Let's take a quick look at his box here. As you can see, it's just like all the other Voyager class boxes of the Transformers animated line, only in this case it has Optimus Prime's picture in the front as well as his name. And his feature in this case is a gravity spin conversion. On this side you have his picture. On the bottom you have, of course, the other figures available, as well as the side. And on the back you have his alt mode, his robot mode, his special abilities, his bio, and of course his motto also. While I function, Earth is under my protection. So he's a tough dude. So top, that's about it. Let's get on with the good stuff, and that would be the figure itself. Here we have Optimus Prime in his alt form. As you can see, he is supposed to be a fire truck, but really doesn't pull it off for me. In the animated series, he is supposed to be a fire truck, but as you see as the series goes on, that whole notion of his alt mode is completely dropped, essentially. You see him choose his alt form as a futuristic fire truck in the beginning, yet in most of the series he tools around town without that whole back end, and you just see his rig part, and you actually see him towing tractor trailers in at least one episode where he's helping out the city with different kinds of jobs. He really has an identity crisis in the show. I wish they would just knock it off. I wish they would just decide on his alt form and stick with it, because he really, in his series, he's missing his whole back end, and he looks more like a rig than a fire truck, which makes these sirens and lights pointless. Let's bring out another Voyager class, in this case being the Classics Optimus Prime. And as you can see, they're very similar in size. Optimus Prime in his Classics form is just a tad bit longer, especially in the feet here. So he is longer, he has better proportions in my opinion than the animated one. As far as the front goes, animated line seems a little bit wider, just by a bit. So yeah, if you don't like this back portion, it is easily removable. And there you see he looks more like a rig minus another set of wheels in the back. In comparison to another animated toy, let's bring out a deluxe Jazz here. And he is pretty good to scale. So that I appreciate a great deal. Scale is not a humongous issue for me, but it is to a certain point where I'd like a truck to be bigger than a car. So things like that. It has to make sense. That all goes out the window once you get into animated prowl. But anyway, moving on. I think he looks better this way, although a bit unfinished looking, but not too bad nevertheless. It's pretty decent, and it's passable. So, and it has a lot of play value, I think, especially if kids like to fill this portion up with water, which is done by accessing this little seal. You just fill it up. Doesn't hold that much water, but it's enough to get a few good squirts in. Okay, let's move on to his transformation. As you've seen earlier, the rear portion does separate, and it separates again to form a separate gun, and this part will form the axe of justice, or whatever it's supposed to be. There it is. Yeah. Let's get on with the main thing. To transform him, he's very reminiscent of the G1 Optimus Prime, and of course the Classics Optimus Prime in the way everything basically goes. There are some differences, such as the front here. You just basically separate it, pull it back, separate, and pull it back. Separate, everyone, separate. Spread his legs apart a little bit. This is the way I like to do it anyway. I like to get this out of the way. And be careful where you put your fingers when you do this. Trust me, be careful, be careful, be careful. It is a pain in the butt. Extend his legs out, because he's going to look real short if you don't. Bend that in. And place it in the back, where it stays pretty good even though it doesn't really snap into anything. And that is that. And the reason why I said watch your fingers is basically there's a little tab that everyone knows about by now, hopefully. And I just knocked over his gun. That basically is that rotating spinning feature that was mentioned on the box. Now, this feature is very unreliable. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Results may vary per figure. So, that being said, let's check it out, see if it works on this one. You basically stick your finger there, push down, and presto changeo, his legs are down. Which is pretty cool. Form his feet, and you have Optimus Prime. Kind of. Sort of. As you can see, it's very similar to the G1 transformation and the Classics Prime transformation. What you do at this point to keep this thing from spinning around, as I just showed you, is you just snap it in place. And that will keep him from doing that, hopefully. It is still a little loose on mine, but I don't really care. Next thing you do, you're going to pull these panels out, and these will form his arms. I'm going to crack this top portion open here, pull it back, pull his arms out, do the same on the other side. There we go. I like to fully extend them. And see, he is kind of a loosey-goosey, but whatever. Pull his hands out, which are actually fists. They snap into the panels. Do the same on this side. Boom. And basically form the head. Push this back in, fold it back, and you have pretty much a finished Optimus Prime. And here's Animated Voyager Optimus Prime in his robot form. He looks very heroic, and that's one of the things that I like most about this figure, is he simply looks like a superhero. Something that I think is pretty hard to accomplish in a robot. His proportions are similar to Starscream, where you have a relatively wide base, narrow hips, and broad shoulders. So you have that hourglass look, which is pretty popular with a superhero stance. And one thing also that bears mentioning is his windows are translucent blue, and it looks like they have circuitry within them. So that's kind of a nice touch with the way they did that. And to show this, let's bring out a DC Universe Classics figure, this being Nightwing. And as you can see, it's got that same kind of style. You have a wide stance, narrow waist, and fairly broad shoulders. So he does have that superhero look, which is kind of fun. Even in the way he stands is very similar to the way the superhero looks. Basically, his chest is pushed forward, his pelvis is pushed forward, and his legs are further back. His shoulders are also back, so he's got that I'm gonna get you look, which I like a whole lot. And of course he's got really powerful looking arms and fists. One other thing that I like about this figure is his light piping. Very nice. Very, very nice. And although it does not show very well on camera, believe me, in person, under the light, it'll look fantastic. As well as another feature that is included in this figure is if you don't like the face mask, boom, gone. You can have your animated Optimus Prime smirk if you like. Personally, as a G1 guy, that's gotta go. So I leave it like that. As a size comparison, here is the Classics Optimus Prime along with the movie Voyager Optimus Prime. As you can see, he's pretty close with Classics. He's a little bit taller than the Classics one, and yet he's a little bit shorter than the movie Voyager one. So he's definitely a Voyager class figure, a pretty good size and pretty chunky, and I think he fits in rather well. As far as articulation goes, this is also where he shines. He has a fantastic range of articulation. Starting with the legs, he can go all the way back, he can go all the way forward, bends at the knee, doesn't bend at 90 degrees, but it bends enough. He also rotates at the knee. His legs can do a complete split, which is incredibly painful for most people, but Optimus Prime does it with ease, as well as a wide variety of motions in between there. His feet can go down and up per his transformation. His waist, as you obviously have seen, does rotate all the way around. His arms do rotate all the way around. They also go out. His elbows rotate all the way around. They also don't quite go straight down, but there is some decent movement there as well. His fists do not move because they are attached to this panel here. And last but not least, his head, he can look, pieces hold together, up, kind of. I really shouldn't be doing that, but up, straight, and he can look all the way this way. Doesn't quite go all the way around because something's blocking it there. That panel there, I think. Nope. And he can look the other way as well. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So he got cut up on something. So he can do it. Alright, that's good news. So that being said, he's very posable, figure in almost anything. Very Prime-esque, which is nice, if that makes any sense. And as for his weapons here, as you've seen earlier, he does come with two. He comes with a gun and his axe of mayhem. I'll put his gun here. The gun I don't think it's all that great, but it's not that bad. It's actually a much better weapon than this ridiculously, insanely large testosterone whatever. It can go in his other fist as well, but the problem is it's so dang heavy that he really can't, you know, over time that's gonna happen. So it's larger than he can handle. Another thing you can do with this guy is if you don't want him to hold it all the time, you can attach things to his back. Basically, there is a rectangular hole there and a rectangular peg there. How interesting and convenient. So you can attach this all by itself, or you can reattach this gun thing back on there, and then you can reattach that to that. which oddly enough weighs it down. There it goes. So there you have Optimus Prime. He looks like a guy with a backpack now with a really long thing. But anyway, he's got like a wing-like look to him. Not too bad. He still stands up pretty well despite the added weight, and he really doesn't have much of a heel spur to speak of. He has these little round things right there, and he does hold together very well. He's not easy to knock over. So it's another very nice benefit to him. So, not bad. Okay, that just looks wrong. But anyway, let's get on with the things. So all in all, a really nice figure. Do I recommend him? Do I hear a heck yeah? And anybody who likes Optimus Prime will not be disappointed in this guy. He's just got a lot of character to him. He looks very heroic. He looks like a leader, although he doesn't act like one like he should in the cartoon series, unfortunately. He really looks nice. And if anybody has any doubts, I hope I have cleared them up for you. The only disadvantage I find for this figure is no Autobot logo on his entire body. I mean, hello? But again, that's nothing that Replo labels cannot remedy. They have both Autobot and Decepticon stickers readily available. You can order through their site. Sometimes you can find them on eBay. And I'm sure you can stick one or on both sides of those Autobot logos and make them look cool. The only other issue I have with him is, although these mirrors are nice, they can hamper the arm if you don't pull them out all the way. See, if you have them like that, it could get in the way, which is why I pull them further out. That way it gives him clearance. And last but not least, his wrists do not really move because they're pegged in place by that panel. I don't really see that as a huge drawback, so I'm not going to really count that as a huge minus, although it is kind of a bummer. But his benefits, his good points, and his all-around appeal just far outweighs any and all of the negative things about him. The ones that I mentioned is basically it right there. So, that said, vehicle mode, I think, is his weakest form. Not the worst, but certainly not the best. He is functional, so that does save him, so I give that an 8. Not quite what I would like to see, but I am trying to be fair about it, since he does have some very good playable qualities to his vehicle mode. At least he squirts water, so okay. Also, you can always take that off, and he can be a rig like G1 Optimus Prime. His transformation is rather clever. I do like the spinning, rotating thing when it does work, and even when it doesn't, it is nothing that really gets in the way. You just help it along. Transforming him back to truck mode, he does make a very uninspiring sound, which sounds like you're gonna break him, but you're not. So it's like, jeez, painful. I mean, he's got to see a chiropractor or something. 9 out of 10. Other than the not always functional tab there. And robot mode, I give him a 9 out of 10. He's a really solid figure. I don't really see anything that would justify deducting any more than that. Really nice toy, very nice Prime, one of the most fun that has ever come out, actually, I think. Could use a really good weapon and a trailer, but otherwise, a really good buy, worth the $20. So thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.